inside China's biggest Bitcoin mine. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, Tech Luxe Zone. China is one of the main exchange markets of Bitcoin, although the currency exists in a legal limbo and is prone to speculation. The country hosts some of the biggest mining pools in the world, where clusters of supercomputers mint new Bitcoins and maintain the system. Some of these supercomputers are installed in rural places close to power plants. One such area is Mongolia, which has quietly become known as the capital of Bitcoin mining. In this video, we will talk about the biggest Bitcoin mine in China. Have a look! If you like our video, don't forget to like and share it with your friends and family. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Bitmain. Bitcoin mines are buildings equipped with massive numbers of microprocessors, where miners solve complex math problems and are rewarded in the digital currency. They are often built beside hydroelectric plants set up along mountainside streams. These plants often produce more energy than they can sell to China's state grid, and some plant owners have found they can either sell the surplus to Bitcoin mines or set up their own mines. The industry operates in a legal gray area in China, outside the conventional Chinese financial system. The miners in this story, concerned about attention from the government, declined to have their full names or work locations mentioned in the story. They live and work at the mine, which is so remote, the nearest public transportation is 20 miles away in the nearest town. Workers pay for rides there once a week. Bitmain sells Bitcoin mining rigs, the specialized computers that keep the cryptocurrency running and that produce or mine new Bitcoins for their owners. It also uses its own rigs to stock facilities that it owns or co-owns and operates. Bitmain owns about 20% of this one. Jahan Wu, the CEO of Bitmain, claims that 70% of the Bitcoin mining rigs in operation today were made by his company. And according to a study conducted last winter by the University of Cambridge in England, it's likely that most of those machines are plugged into an outlet somewhere in China. Bitmain acquired this mining facility in Inner Mongolia a couple years ago and has turned it into one of the most powerful money factories on the Bitcoin network. It quite literally metabolizes electricity into money. By my own calculations, the hardware on the grounds, some 21,000 computers, accounted for about 4% of all the computing power in the Bitcoin network when I visited. Like 10-ton paperweights, these machines bear down on the globally distributed ledger of transactions that is Bitcoin, keeping its pages from ever turning backwards. Here is where the supply of existing Bitcoins is secured. And here is where the banquet of new Bitcoins is served. The process of mining Bitcoins works like a lottery. Bitcoin miners are competing to produce hashes, alphanumeric strings of a fixed length that are calculated from data of an arbitrary length. They're producing the hashes from a combination of 3 pieces of data: new blocks of Bitcoin transactions, the last block on the blockchain, and a random number. These are collectively referred to as the block header for the current block. Each time miners perform the hash function on the block header with a new random number, they get a new result. To win the lottery, the miner must find a hash that begins with a certain number of zeros. Just how many zeros are required is a shifting parameter, determined by how much computing power is attached to the Bitcoin network. Every 2 weeks, on average, the mining software automatically readjusts the number of leading zeros needed, the difficulty level, by looking at how fast new blocks of Bitcoin transactions were added. The algorithm is aiming for a latency of 10 minutes between blocks. When miners boost the computing power of the network, they temporarily increase the rate of block creation. The network senses the change and then ratchets up the difficulty level. When a miner's computer finds a winning hash, it broadcasts the block header to its next peer in the Bitcoin network, which checks it and then propagates it further. Then, 2 things happen. New transactions are added to the Bitcoin blockchain ledger, and the winning miner is rewarded with newly minted Bitcoin. The miner also collects a small fee that users voluntarily tack onto their transactions as a way of pushing them to the head of the line. It's ultimately an exchange of electricity for coins, mediated by a whole lot of computing power. The probability of an individual miner winning the lottery depends entirely on the speed at which that miner can generate new hashes, relative to the speed of all other miners combined. In this way, the lottery is more like a raffle, where the more tickets you buy in comparison to everyone else, makes it more likely that your name will be pulled out of the hat. With the ant miners needing to stay below 38 degrees Celsius, Mongolia is not the ideal location for a mining facility. It has been above 40 degrees Celsius for several days, and in the winter, it can fall to negative 20 degrees Celsius, cold enough for Bitmain to add insulation to the facilities. To save money on cooling, some mine operators have opted for cooler climates. Bitfury also runs 3 large mining facilities, one of which is in Iceland, to benefit from the cool weather. Many data centers around the world have 30 to 40% of electricity cost going to cooling, explains Valerie Valvilov, the CEO of Bitfury. This is not an issue with our Iceland data center. The 2 other Bitfury mines are in Tbilisi, in the Republic of Georgia, where the weather is much warmer. According to Valvilov, the company has developed a 2-phase immersion cooling technology with their subsidiary, Allied Control. The system bathes the mining machines in a dielectric heat transfer liquid called Novec, which cools the computers as it evaporates. The system is now deploying at the Georgia data centers. While heat is definitely an issue for the mining farm in Ordos, the electricity there is dirt cheap, only 4 US cents per kilowatt hour, which the government subsidizes. That's about 1/5 the average price in the United Kingdom. The only other costs for the facility are the rigs themselves and the salary of a few dozen staff that keeps them operational. The controller on the S9 had a red light that goes off when it detects a malfunction. Technicians are on hand to scan these racks for sick rigs. When they find one, they pull it out, send it to a house on the factory lot where other technicians diagnose the problem, fix it, and get the machine back on the line. Sometimes it's a failed chip. Other times it's a burned out fan. If the problem is more serious, then the rig gets sent all the way to Bitmain's labs in Shenzhen in the southeast of China for a proper rebuild. Every moment the rig spends unplugged, potentially revenue slips away. Given the price of Bitcoin at the time I visited Ordos, each individual mining rig at the facility was making around $10 US in Bitcoins per day. At that rate, the facility as a whole, which houses over 20,000 anti-miner rigs, could bring in $70 million or more per year. And this is just one of the facilities that Bitmain runs. Price fluctuations, which have been common in Bitcoin since the day it was created 8 years ago, saddle miners with risk and uncertainty. And that burden is shared by chip manufacturers, especially one like Bitmain, which invests the time and money in a full custom design. According to Nisat Sharma, the international marketing manager at Bitmain, when the price of Bitcoin was breaking records this spring, sales of S9 rigs doubled. But again, that is not the trend the company can afford to bet on. And so, Bitmain has begun to diversify. In addition to Bitcoin business, the company has also started to dabble in artificial intelligence and is developing facial recognition hardware that it plans to sell to the Chinese government. Competing ASIC maker Bitfury has also started seeking profit from non-mining industries. While we began as just a mining company back in 2011, our company has significantly expanded its reach since then, says CEO Vavivlo. Along with other things, Bitfury is now providing its immersion cooling technology to high-performance data centers that are not involved in Bitcoin. If you like our video, don't forget to like and share it with your friends and family. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.